Okay, welcome back. I hope you've had a really good session. So this is your chance to ask what you want of the executive team, and genuinely they will answer any question you want to throw at them, but a number of you will. I know you will. I know you will. They're super excited. Asif just said he wants as many as you can throw at him, so you can absolutely give that a go. I have 55 questions that you have submitted, and I'm going to work through a few of them. We've only got 15 minutes, so we're going to go. But because those online can also ask some questions, and Sarah sat there in case one comes up that we need to answer, we're going to have to sort of navigate this together a bit. We will answer every single question, regardless. We will come out and write out the answers to everybody afterwards, so there is no question that won't be answered. So I'm going to go to this list first. If you have a question, put your hand up, because the wonderful Charlotte with the roving mic will come find you so that I can go to you. So if you've got one and you think, oh yeah, I'm feeling brave, I'm going to put my hand up and ask it, feel free. But I'm going to go here first, okay? So I'm going to kick off with one of the questions that came in. And the question was, let's see which one I will go to first. I'm going to go to, how will the Trust ensure that voices of people with lived experience continue to shape service design and improvement? Hilary?
Thank you. Is it on? Oh, yeah, there we go. Okay. Not that I needed it. So I think that's a great question. And we hear and collect feedback from service users and carers all the time, day in and day out in our wards and in our services. But there is more that we can do, and we've committed to doing as part of all of our improvement work. So whether that's daily improvement or a CQI project or one of our larger transformation schemes, experts by experience have to feature in the very beginning stages. And I am really pleased to say that it's part of our framework around how we run a project. So we couldn't run one without it. And we've been really strong in saying that not only should they be part of the project, but we actually want them part of the governance as well. So I co-chair the Transformation and Improvement Board with Harvey, who is an expert by experience, and we also have a carer on the board with us, so that voice and that perspective is never missed out. And they're forces, wonderful forces that keep us focused, and making sure that the changes that we're making are landing where they should do, but also continuing to challenge us and ask us those questions around where was the source of that solution, and is it really an improvement or is it just a change? So I'm excited for the next step of the journey, which is just solidifying where we've already started.
Brilliant, thank you. Okay, I'm going to throw this one at you, Asif. What is the one thing we aren't doing in research yet that we should be doing?
Brilliant. Can I go with two things? So the first thing is we are absolutely committed to increasing the number of service users who are participating in research. And that number has gone up significantly in the last 2 years. I'm absolutely proud of that bit, because that means we have got already people who are contributing to research, designing research, participating in research. I'm very proud of that. The second bit is, which is the most exciting news of the day, is we have got research grants coming in genomics, psychogenomics, but also not just in first episode psychosis, where you do saliva testing and it tells you which drug to use for this person, saves about 3 years of treatment with the right drug. I mean, how amazing can that be? And the second bit is that we are going to participate in research trials showing that we can do Alzheimer's testing on genes right at the start that they get referred to us. 10 years potentially can change for those people. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps now. If that is happening for that population, it will happen for learning disability, it will happen for young people. So, and we will get our own labs in this organization very soon. So I'm, overwhelmed, because that is all going to be used for our service users in clinical practice very soon in this organization. Thank you.
Hold on to it. So thank you. I think the other piece to say, Asif and I were at an event on Wednesday last week, And there were 10 big national trials going on, and we were in 4 of them. And most organisations can't say that. So there's lots more for us to do. And it's not just the hard concrete research, is it, us? It's also evaluating everything that we do. And you're doing that in your teams all the time. So really, really important. So thank you. Okay, where shall I go next? Katie, then I'm going to throw this one at you. And we've got 45 minutes, not 15. So I'm just reminding my team I got the timing wrong. So you've got longer to answer some of these. So this one is, how does the Trust plan to support and ensure that recovery will remain a central focus of the Great Together strategy?
Thank you. Do you want me to cover it for 45 minutes or the whole 45 minutes? Okay. So I think there's 2 immediate answers. I've got 2 points, much like Asif, to make on this. Firstly, it's in our Great Together strategy. So that's how we're going to ensure it remains part of what we do. It says it right in the middle of it. It's at the heart of what we do there. Secondly, all of us, all of you, because recovery isn't one person doing one thing, it's everybody doing it day in, day out. It needs to be part of what we do. We also recognise that in our learning disability services, that means living well, and so recovery and living well and thinking about that in how we support people, from talking to them to understand what matters to them on a day-to-day basis, and then building that into care plans and practice to how we think about how we train and support people. I think the other thing, for those of you who were lucky enough to be in the experience strategy session that we've just run, we were talking about it there and really thinking about how when we develop our experience strategy, we think about recovery and living well as being being right at the heart of that as well. Thank you.
Great. And Katie, while you've got Mike, can you say something on Recovery College? What's your view on that for the future?
So the Recovery College, for people that don't know, is a really important part of what we do and what a number of services, a number of trusts do in this space to support people as part of their recovery, offering training, and we have wonderful experts by experience as part of that, and linking in both through our services, and so really, really value the work of the Recovery College and the work that they do, and there's lots of information around generally in the atrium if people want to know more about it.
Perfect, thank you. David, I might throw this one at you. In the context of Great Together, what does neighbourhood team mean? And how will we deliver it?
That's a great question. And we just had a session this morning on neighbourhoods and how that might evolve into the future. So neighbourhoods are where we've always delivered our care in the community, and we will continue to do that. But there will be a much greater presence in terms of connectivity with our kind of primary care networks, our links to social care, our links to the acute trusts and community trusts, and how we can weave that through into where people live their lives every day and the needs that they have. And so we were looking at Marmot's needs in that workshop to describe actually place isn't just about where you get your care, it's about where you live your life. And if we can start to mobilise our organisation weaved into people's lives, we can meet their needs prior to probably when they need to get escalated into acute trusts or acute services that are ours as well in terms of supporting mental health. And so the prime aim over the next year is to begin to mobilise in that spirit, to begin to really make sure that we're breaking down the barriers of engagement with communities that we've either lost trust with or not connected with, and start to really make a difference before people need escalating into our care. So that's where we'd like to be in the next year.
Okay, thank you. Emma, it's quite a specific one, so I might broaden it out a little bit as well. But the question was, what's the future for social workers across the Trust? And perhaps you could broaden it to the other professional groups that you also lead across our organisation.
Yeah, thank you. And it leads very nicely on for my colleagues, because we've talked about where care is going to be delivered going forward, being close to home. We've spoken about the why in terms of service user being at the heart of everything we do. The why around ensuring recovery is at the thread. But of course, we can't do any of that without a you, which is all of you out there, regardless of your professional background. What's really, really critical as we move forward, both this year and to further deliver on our Great Together strategy for the next 3 years, and of course the 8.5 year now NHS plan, is that we continue to invest in all of our staff, and particularly thinking from that multidisciplinary approach, how do we further strengthen each of those professional fields? So social work particularly, there's been a huge amount of work that's being led by Karen Hastings, who you will know as your professional lead for social work. It's about investing in staff that want to become social workers, so we've continued to invest in apprenticeships, but it's also thinking about how do we continue to invest in the social workforce that we have now and in the future. What will they need differently given the changes to the Mental Health Act? What will we need to do differently to deliver on the county council's reconfiguration? And what will that look like in terms of continual professional development? And making sure for every profession, whether it be a psychological therapist, nurses, our allied health professionals, is making sure that they stay true to their profession of choice. So we value their individual contribution as a profession and what that brings, whilst collectively working much more together around team to deliver on all those ambitions that we have. So it's investing in our current workforce, it's thinking the workforce of the future, and it's thinking about how we adapt all of those things together to continue developing everybody going forward.
Thank you, Emma. Where shall I go next? Phil, I'm going to go to your portfolio for a minute, not money though. So can you share with us your plans to improve the spaces we work and see patients?
Yeah, definitely. And we're one of the things we haven't had at this organisation is a really decent estate strategy. So over the coming months, and we're working with as many as possible to really hear where things are working well and where things aren't working as well from an estates point of view, so that we can create a really strong estate strategy. I think it's around two big things for me. First of all, our inpatient facilities. So are they all as high a quality as they can be? And we've got investment in the next year in Albany Lodge, where we know not everywhere is en suites, there's some differentials, so there's investment there. And the second piece is to looking around our community offering. And we know there's a kind of mixed bag of portfolio of the estate across the counties. And in particular in the east of the county, making sure we're investing in that area. So there's a couple of specific areas I'm looking to invest in.
Okay, thank you very much. Joe, how will we maintain staff wellbeing and morale in a climate of financial difficulties?
A super question, and it's a really, really, really important topic. Some of you might have been in the session earlier that's talked about caring for you too. It's really important, and as I was saying earlier on today as well, we can only deliver great service if we've got great teams who are happy and healthy. So we will not take up or take our foot off the gas in terms of wellbeing programs. The cost of sickness absence way outweighs wellbeing initiatives in the organisation. And I think, I look at Phil, I think it's £1 million for every 1% sickness absence. So we are currently over our sickness absence targets, which means we're spending more money already on sickness absence. So it is absolutely in the trust wellbeing, the trust wellbeing, for us to look after your wellbeing as part of that trust. So it's absolutely imperative, and we'll be looking at more and more ways in which we can bring in new things. And let's be real, a lot of wellbeing initiatives don't cost anything. Just don't cost anything. So take, for example, we've chipped off 10 minutes off hour-long meetings recently that we're just piloting, see how that goes. It didn't cost us anything to do that. But it's just allowing us space to breathe in the day, and about being creative about low and no cost opportunities for us, as well as some of the bigger ticket stuff.
Okay, thank you. Helen, do you want to just build on that, on cost of living perhaps, and how we might support staff?
Thank you. So I think it's really clear that the cost of living and the impact it has is really tough, and it's a daily concern for people. And we hear about it regularly also in our catch up with the exec, which is a really unsophisticated plug, please, for people to join that as much as possible if they want to talk to us even more so than this. But I think one of the things I can say is most recently the Trust has lobbied really hard to get some improvements in the mileage rates, and that's been recently announced about an improvement in mileage rates and a twice yearly review. It's a small thing and it's not everything, but it just gives an example of the commitment from us as an organisation. But the important thing is for individuals to have conversations, to let us know as leaders and as at the organisation what's going on for you, what would work for you. Please use the networks to do that. Please use your line manager to do that. And there's also resources like the EPA programme and also what Joe's referred to in terms of the Caring for You. So the message for me really is just make us really aware of what's going on, because our role is to make sure that you thrive in work, and therefore if we all thrive, we provide really fantastic care for the service users.
Okay, that's the first round for each of them to have one. Anybody got a question in the room? Oh, a few. Excellent. I love this. So I'm going to go Vicky first, and then Nico, and then I'll go back over this side.
It might be a bit off, kind of, but I don't know if anyone's aware of the National Emergency Briefing that has been looking at climate change and climate collapse and the implications that that's going to have on staff, service users, everyone, and whether we have any kind of looking at how we can have less impact on the planet, and perhaps what we're going to be able to do when things start to go downhill in terms of food security and public health and that kind of stuff.
So Vicky, absolutely brilliant question. Look, and we all pay attention to this in our daily lives, don't we? But we need to be paying attention as an organisation too. Phil, you're our Sustainability Director lead, so do you want to talk?
Is this working? Yes. So we've just launched our green plan. It's our second green plan, running from 2025 to 2028. And at the heart of that is looking at becoming carbon neutral by 2040, but also looking at what else is going on in around the world. And there's kind of 9 strands of that, for which we've got a few managers in here that are supporting this. What we're really looking for is more green champions across the organisation. So if you could reach out to me, I really would like to promote that and hear all of your views. The Sustainability Steering Group that I lead is a good one. It's got managers on there with their expertise, but also we have experts by experience on there. So if anyone wants to join that group, really welcome you to be part of that.
Brilliant. Thank you. Nico, you were next. I think we need to pass.
Thank you. We heard earlier this morning about the 470 odd million that we get every year, but I'll be interested to hear, not from a dreamy point of view, but if that was doubled, where would we spend our money? What's the most important things? Operationally, clinically, people-wise, what are the most important things that we'd spend the money on if we had double that money?
Oh, I would so love that, Nico. Right. Who wants to kick off? Asif.
So, listen, I think there are probably, the most important thing is we want to improve the service users right at the heart, and you want to make sure that they get earliest possible treatment and intervention done quickly. And I'll throw a figure at you that will help to explain this. The national picture is that 75% of children enter into adult services for mental health needs. If I was a betting man and I want to really commit to this, I will invest maybe 80% of that money into young people so that we can manage them and support them better, whatever age they enter our services. And that the other investment will be, because I've sorted out all the adults by doing that, will be to look after people who are then going to enter into the later lives with severe needs. So if you double the money, that's probably where I will go, because that will make the single biggest difference in the lives of people with mental health need.
So look, we're going to get everyone want to speak on this one. And one thing I'd say before, as they decide who's going to go next, is it's not beyond us. So if I go back to what our income was 7 years ago, we have doubled our income almost. So although you've made the challenge, actually, we will continue to fight for this. So Emma, you ready?
I'm
Where
ready.
were you going to put it?
Can you hear me? Yeah. So completely concur around young people for the reasons said around prevention, old people because I'm getting ancient myself and you have to look after your own. I think if I was looking at the social determinants of health, the big area I'd want us to commit to do differently, which isn't necessarily just about money, would be about housing and accommodation, and thinking about Maslow's hierarchy of needs around having stable roof over your head and accommodation.
Thank you. Matt, a final word on this, Katie.
She stole mine. So I will build on that because I think it's absolutely right. And I suppose it was absolutely the prevention. It's getting in earlier. It's supporting people with those needs earlier to do that. But I would also put a little bit of a challenge in that says, we do need more investment, absolutely. But what can we do with what we've got? How would we pump prime some of that now to free up the capacity to then be able to do? And that's absolutely what we should be thinking because we have the opportunity to do a lot of these things that we've talked about. Yes, we all want more money. I'm not ever going to disagree with that. But I think we should throw the question back to say, what would make the difference? What would you do it? And how do we go about making that happen with what we've got?
Love the challenge, Katie. And yes, we're almost a £500 million organisation. So we should be talking about what we have got as much as what we haven't. So great shout. Now, I had some questions. I've got one online, but I had some over this side first, Sarah, and then I'll come to you as well. Hello. Where are we going? Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, I work in the acute inpatient unit, and my question borders around how do we support staff when things go wrong, especially when there's an issue of allegation from one of the service users, and the staff cannot work because the investigation going on, which tends to go on forever. So we have some very, very good staff because of virtue of the fact that they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. They're still at home and they can't work. And it's actually affecting us one way or the other because these are staff that the service users know. So my question borders around the investigation and how quickly can it be expedited?
Fabulous question. So thank you. So there's two bits in there, isn't it? How do we learn and how do we support at the time when things go wrong? And then how are we supporting staff who are going through an investigation and are not currently working? So I'm going to go Jo first on sort of that sort of support for staff, and then I'm going to go Emma on learning.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're absolutely right to call out there have recently been quite a number of delays in getting these investigations resolved and sorted out, which we are very, very well aware of and are looking to expedite and to bring that forward. But going forward, one of the things that we are very much focusing on in terms of any employee relations or any allegations that are made is that from a concept of do no harm. And that's a concept of do no harm for our staff and for staff who have had the allegation that's been made against them, but also for staff who've been asked to be witness to that situation or staff that are involved in the investigation, because it's quite a traumatic experience and can be quite a traumatic experience. It feels very personal. You can feel very, very exposed by that. And whilst at the moment we have buddies and we have wellbeing buddies to support our staff, I still think there is more that we can do in this area. So it's a live topic that we're discussing at the moment in the Trust, and how can we make that better?
Yeah, thank you. Great question. I think there's a couple of things I wanted to build around that. One is recognising the really difficult role that everybody does every single day, working with complexity and what we're faced with, and making decisions. And as you say, not being in the wrong place, being in the right place, but perhaps in the wrong moment for somebody. Because actually what we're managing is people in acute distress. And that comes with huge privilege, but it comes with challenge and personal consequence sometimes. And we were talking about that earlier in our session around violence and aggression. Any decision around action to be taken is always last resort and is actually to protect both the member of staff as well as the service user. And actually, in light of the number of things that are raised, the number of staff who then are in a position where they need to be at home is tiny. And I guess I just wanted to make that clear. We are very much an organisation that is a learning organisation that is based on restorative justice and only take extreme action in extreme cases where we feel that's in the best interest of everybody in order to get to the bottom of it. And I think that's important for everyone to hear. As an organisation, we hold two things. We have to hold the safety and the rights of the service user, whilst also the rights and the protection of the staff. And sometimes that means taking that. As Jo says, there's absolutely more opportunity to expedite that and do that in a way that's respectful, but swift, actually, for both service users and staff. And we're looking at ways in which to do that. But what I really want to encourage staff to do, and I know that staff do this because this is what our staff survey told us, and it's what I hear, is not be afraid to share when things don't go as we want them to. All of us have made errors in practice. I remember giving someone the wrong medication once. They are still alive, by the way. Just wanted to just clarify that. It was a long time ago. And And it's frightening when you have to speak up and say that you've made a mistake. But I know that I was very much I never made it again, by the way, just to say that. I learned from it, but also others learned from it around checking back. So it is really important that we encourage our colleagues, ourselves, support each other to raise concerns, to share when things don't go always as we want them to, so that we can learn. And also help us recognise when we have to take action, support people during that, so it's for the shortest amount of time possible and done in the most respectful way.
Okay, thank you, Emma. So I think there was another hand over here, gentleman here, please, Charlotte. And then I'm going to go to Sarah online. And if you've got other questions, no, there's a lady with the striped top there, and then we'll come over to Sarah as well.
Hi, I think it's more aimed at the States. You mentioned Albany Lodge, and I know there's been some building plans already for Albany Lodge, but hardly any of the staff got involved in it, and there's a concern that this is going to go ahead and get built, and a lot of the staff were worried that the rooms that we already use, that we know works, is going to be changed around, and then we're going to get a new building, and then we're just going to be told, well, you've got to work with what you've got. That's what's been involved. And so I'm hoping there's going to be more consultation with the staff in Albany Lodge to work out what works best and what doesn't, because my past experience is buildings get built, and then from my profession, you've only got one building to share with multiple people, and then everybody argues about, one room. And I don't want that to happen to Albany Lodge, because so far it's working okay. So. Okay, great. So look, we shouldn't be designing anything without staff and service users. So Phil, any reflections on that?
So first of all, there's no plans that are signed off, and there's no plan to go ahead. So we'll take that away and make sure we are, as we always do with all of our buildings, engaging with the staff on that department.
Okay, great, thank you. Where are we going next? So I'm losing track.
Hi. We're living in this great new digital world, which I find very, very difficult. I'm very challenged digitally and IT-wise. And even though I would say I've got good clinical skills, I really struggle with the IT and the digital. And you feel very stupid a lot of the time, actually, that you can't marry the two together. So I'm just wondering what sort of help people like me, hopefully I'm not the only person in this trust that is struggling. And also I went to a very interesting meeting with probation yesterday with a client, and they have rolled out recently AI recording, and the whole session they recorded it, and then she said it will just automatically come as a note, and then they'll just alter it. She said there's hardly any altering, and then they just stick it in their notes. And I would love something like that, so that I can just get on and do my work and not waste hours not being able to get into Paris or do something that I haven't got a clue how to do. So how to make our lives a bit simpler.
So Amanda, I'm probably the biggest IT laggard in the world, as my kids tell me every single day. So I can really relate to that, and that we've got to make it as simple as we possibly can. I've got Hakan stood at the back of the room, who I might have bring in a minute to have a comment on this. But Phil, do you want to just say a little bit more about any reflections?
Yeah, no, I recognise that. And as we think about AI and future developments, it's going to get more and more technology. We need to ensure that whenever we're rolling out a new system, that we are ensuring all our staff are training. And I would say that that will be the case. One of the things we've done this year, we've rolled out, I think, over 100 apprenticeships, looking in particular in the digital scenario. We're about to go out again for our next round, so we're trying to invest in staff as much as possible. But you have the word from the exec that if we are rolling out new technology, the training will be there to support that implementation. Otherwise, it's just not going to work, and we want it to work to improve care for our service users. Absolutely, and there's so much out there that we can take advantage of, and we're exploring all the time as part of our digital strategy what else is out there. So if you've seen some other things, we could also have a look at what else is out there that can make jobs even easier. So thank you. Sarah, you had one online, did you? You want to ask? We need the mic so it can be heard. Sorry, Charlotte, you're getting your steps in today. Amazing, thank you.
Yes, this one was online. When will you drop the negative word qualified and non-qualified and change to something that acknowledges that everyone is qualified in their role?
Oh, I like that one. That's a great one. What's the view? Exec, Emma, got a view on that one?
God, what a great question. We shouldn't be using any kind of derogatory terms that in any way makes people feel their contribution is minimised. And I hear it all the time when we hear people referred to by their banding, actually. However, there is some statutory obligations to be able to demonstrate where appropriate for safety reasons, actually, that we would classify some as being registered and then unregistered staff, because actually accountability, responsibility around statute and legal status is different, and it's important that each of us understands our role within that. We understand the roles of our colleagues within that, and more importantly, the public understand. So I think it's a great question that we are using it in a disproportionate way, and as I said, any way to undermine people. But we also have an obligation to be really clear as to our roles, responsibilities, accountabilities, and job descriptions, job roles, and where that sits within that.
Okay, brilliant. I'm going to hold us there because we're almost at 2:30 and we've got some brilliant showcases. One word or one sentence from each of you to tell me what you're most excited about for HPFT and for our services. And I'm going to start, Asif. One. Not two, not three, one.
So I'm really excited about the future because there is a lot coming. In the next 5 years, we will treat people better, quicker, with better outcomes and lasting outcomes. How can you not be excited about that one? To make a real difference in people we look after and in their lives. I mean, the next 5 years are going to be amazing.
Okay, Katie, one.
Taking forward and co-developing our experience strategy over the course of the next quarter. We've had a great session, really want to involve everybody and link into the people that you work with to get everybody's input into experience strategy.
I'm really excited about the opportunity the next few months is going to give us to show our regulators how fantastic we are and how brilliant we are. So I'm really pumped for that.
Pumped.
I think what I'm most excited about is helping the organization and each one of you embed improvement as part of your business as usual. So all those things to make it easier to do your work, to be more effective, and to make service users have better outcomes in a way that isn't extra. It's just part of how we do things.
Okay, Joe.
I'm really excited for you. I'm really excited about our people plans and making HPFT simply the best place to work.
I am really excited that we are, in the next year, going to touch the hearts of our communities and really make a difference to the people who live around us and really make that impact.
For me, it's about some of the investment we're putting into ADHD, in particular to children. And as a father of four, that kind of touches with me. And I think we're going to start to really cut the waiting list over the next 12 months. That's pretty exciting.
I'm going to stick to one word. Outstanding.
Okay, can't beat that. So stay with us. We're going to do a bit of a switch around, but could you give a round of applause to my exec team for fielding all of that? Fabulous. So I am absolutely delighted to welcome four wonderful speakers to the floor. So we have Wendy, we have Peter, we have Janice, and we have Hannah. I'm going to hand to Hannah right away, who's going to tell us our story about Forest House Adolescent Unit. So thank you.